Yes. Welcome to the Power Podcast. It's myself, Arthur, and Daniel Lyle on this call, on this podcast. We live on multiple streams today, y'all. We're trying to do something different, y'all. Can you hear me okay? Unmute your mic, bro.
Live on Instagram and on Facebook, man. So this is dope. I'm just trying to get all my camera set up and everything. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining. We got Eric Garcia on Instagram. Bree got Blaze. So let's make it work. All right. So go ahead, D. I'll let you go ahead and you doing the streaming stuff, man. So I'll let you host that part of it.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Hold that down.
Can you hear me okay? All right, y'all. So here we are. We're live. We're talking about today. It's our first time doing it live in the multiple streams in the way that we're doing this. This is something new. So we're trying to have a good time with y'all today. I do want to. I just lost my thing. I don't know what's going on.
All right, you good? So cool. Go ahead, man. I'll let you chop it up, man. Go ahead and get started and let us know what's happening.
All right. I'm back. My apologies. So today we're going to talk about how to work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically dealing around some time management. So we definitely want to work on trying to become better versions of ourselves. That's what our Power Podcast is all about. And speaking of that, one thing I do want to mention is today is our 1 year anniversary of doing the Our Power Podcast.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, we came a long way, man. So 52 episodes.
So that's dope, man. Like, all 52, well, majority of them been on Instagram, so we just now coming to Facebook. So if you following us on Instagram, we appreciate you. Once you give shouts out all the people on Facebook, on Instagram that's been showing love and showing up every week. Man, we love and appreciate you, man. And, we just want to drop hearts and love to you guys back. And then we want to expand, and start jumping on Facebook and see how we can also, navigate both streams. And I think YouTube too, right? But the point is just like,
as well.
But the point is really to just come with value, right? Like adding value and empowering. Every person needs to be empowered, and I think that's the message, for today. It's like, how can you empower others by being empowered, right? Because one thing that I know for sure is in any world that we all live in, any space, any industry, any opportunity that you have, motivation just gets you started, right? But habit is what really keeps you going. So if you can get the right habits, you can be on anybody's lives, scrolling on social media all day long and get the right motivation. But if you don't go apply the habits, you still be the same place you was before you got that motivation. So that's just a quick thing that I wanted to mention. Like, I appreciate everybody to be joining in and applying the stuff, right? Because it only works if you work it.
Absolutely. Only works if you work it. So, we're definitely trying to work it. We've been doing this very consistently. Our first 13 weeks, we just did a straight up lifestyle. Think and go rich. So, the process has never changed. So we have not done it. We're just trying to change the way that we present this in the world. And do you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
All right, awesome.
Can you hear us on Instagram? Can you hear Daniel on Instagram, everybody? If you do,
give us a thumbs up or a heart emoji or somebody do it.
Mm-hmm. Cool beans. Right. Bet.
All right, so let's get into it. So one of the things that we were talking about is how to use your time wisely. Mike, using your time management. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So it's not about the time that we have. It's what we do with the time that we got. So what are some of the things, type in the chat that you hear when people say, when people talk about they don't have no time? What are some of the things that you hear?
Say it again, D.
So what are some of the things, let me back up. So one of the things that I always hear is I don't have no time. And that kills me because I'm thinking to myself, like, we all have the same 24 hours. So how do you not have enough time to get a thing done? How do you not have enough time to get into the gym? We all have the same 24 hours. How do you not have enough time to get your business going? We all have the same 24 hours. So it's not about the time because we all have the same 24 hours every single day. You know there's going to be 12 hours in a day. You know it's going to be 12 hours in a day. So where is the issue? It's in your process. It's what you do with the 24 hours that you have.
So how do you how does one systemize a system?
Oh, that's the key. You gotta figure out a way that's gonna work better for you. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna break down a couple of things, a couple of tips, and how you can actually work smarter and not harder. So we're gonna tap into that. So we're gonna break down a few tips on how you can actually work smarter and not harder. Because the key, like I said, the key is to just find out what's going to work for you. One of the things, first, let me give you my story. So, I'm a person, I spend a lot of time, multitasking. I do this a lot of people like try to text and drive and things like that, walk and shit down at the same time. And the reason that is, because so we do a lot of things that we need to be doing at the time that we shouldn't be doing. So I was really doing this, but I'm driving and I'm taking notes on something, or I'm driving and I'm trying to set up a social media post for the day. I'm driving, I'm trying to schedule an appointment. I'm trying to set up a session. And a lot of times I was doing that stuff, I wasn't getting much time. I wasn't getting much time. I didn't feel like I was completing all of the jobs that I had. So it goes into that mindset of being a jack of all trades and a master of none. Because a lot of times we're doing a whole bunch of different things at once, or a whole bunch of different things at a time, and you really not focus on the one thing that's really going to help you move forward. So this is why it's very important to develop a process and a system that actually works, and find that completeness as a whole. I know you got stories about food.
Oh yeah, I got many stories because the way I look at it is so the cool thing is that I got an amazing wife, right? And my wife is so dope. Like she's the system for every system. And the cool thing is that like I get to see how she gets so much done in a day, right? Like not only the fact that like she goes to work every day, right? But she also cooks, she cleans, and she takes care of myself and my daughter, and then she still makes and manage time to do the things that she wants to do for her life. Still get her fitness done. In fact, this year, 2021, she just posted on Snapchat today that she has not missed one day of working out in the gym. So it's like 304 days that she had missed, that she's been in the gym. Right. And I'm like, man, how, I'm pretty consistent in a lot of things that I do, but wow, You haven't missed the gym not one time, not one day. You know what I mean? So the goal is to go 365, and she's only a few days away, right? You know what I mean? So like, how do you get all of those things done in a short amount of time when we all got 24 hours, right? So I've been blessed to be able to see that at scale, right? I've been blessed to be able to leverage somebody else's opportunities and like, so I can see what it looks like. I can see like how to get it done, by watching somebody else that's amazing at it do it. And so me personally, growing up from, just I'm a freelancer, man. Like I'm a spirit and moment kind of guy, and I figure something out and I want to do it. I just do it. I don't need systems. I just do it. I'm an action taker. But sometimes that's awesome, and other times it's not so great, right? Because sometimes when you do that, I personally will, I try to get so much done and not forget about the important things, right? So I had to learn how to balance those things, like by taking the right actions, by taking the right opportunities, and being able to get everything done that's important, right? So, but without systems, that's hard to do. It's hard to accomplish, and I think the biggest opportunity that I got blessed with to be able to understand how to leverage my opportunity, how to leverage systems, was when I was running a successful business, my barbershop, and so I was running a multiple six-figure business, and also I was training for bodybuilding, right? Which that in itself is a task. So, but I had to eat the right foods. I had to drink the right amount of water. I had to get a workout in every day. I still had to go manage my business. I had to manage my team, lead my family, have time for them, and also have time for myself to still read books, to get all this stuff done. I'm like, man, how do I do all of that? And at first it was really difficult because I originally wasn't a systems guy. But in order to be able to maintain a lifestyle and get all those things done, until you have systems, the system's going to work against you. If you want them to work for you, you have to manage this. You have to find a system, manage the system, and measure the system. And with that being said, systems. I read in the book, and this is probably the book. This is actually the book that I read it in. It's the 1 Minute Millionaire, and it says system stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. Right. So if you don't have systems and you want to save those things, if you want to work harder, or you want to work hard, and if you want to work smart and not so hard, you have to have systems, right? You got to learn how to change your personal pursuit for success, and that's just been, a blueprint that I've learned that you got to duplicate, you got to adapt, you got to figure out how can I use it to make it work in my life. So, I mean, in short, you got to have systems. Otherwise, if you don't have a system, if you're not leveraging the system, it's working against you.
Absolutely.
Somebody's system is working against you because you're right. We got the same 24.
Yeah. So we gotta operate in that mindset that we do have the same 24. And that means that you have to come up with a way to actually, utilize the 24 to your capacity. So one of the ways that I found that was the easiest for you to actually narrow down your 24 is the reverse.
Is to
You
do
know
what?
for a fact to reverse engineer your 24 hours. Because you know for a fact that you're going to sleep. How many hours do you sleep in that? 6 hours, 8 hours. So you subtract that from your first 24. How many hours do you put in work? 8 hours. 10 hours. Subtract that from your next 24. So now you already 16 hours accounted for. So that gives you what? 8 more hours. So now in 8 more hours, you got a plethora of things to do. 1 hour you can give to your health and your fitness, your gym time. If you don't have an hour, give yourself 30 minutes. But subtract it from your 24. 1 hour, a couple of hours you got for your kids, meal prepping or dinner. Subtract that from your 24. So you got to back it down. But we all have the same 24, so we should be able to work it, through the system. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of break down some tips, things that you can actually do to actually get your system in place. Number one, I would suggest the first thing you do is to stop multitasking. If you haven't got if you didn't get the memo yet, multitasking is a myth. Get more done to get more done in one shot. But the truth is, when you do that, how are you really focusing on what really needs to be done at the time that you're really doing it? So you actually risk sacrificing your own mental health, multitasking, because of the fact that you're not giving 100% to a task that you really need to get done. So now you're stressing because you got all these things you're trying to knock in one shot, and it's not, it's not being complete. You're not even maximizing your full potential. One thing that I heard this way that really caught my attention, that I thought it was an amazing task, is that all life forms operate at the maximum capacity, except for human beings.
Except for what?
Except for human beings. We're the only life form that does not operate at a maximum capacity. We're the only life form that does not operate at the best of our potential. Because if you really think about a tree. How tall does a tree grow?
As high as a tree can grow.
As high as it can grow. How fast does a cheetah run?
As fast as a cheetah can run.
Absolutely. And you ain't never seen a tree say, "Man, I'm only gonna grow to be about 5 foot tall." Trees don't do that. Trees will grow as high as it can grow. It's going to grow as many branches as it can grow. It's going to put as many fruit on it as it can. It's going to put as many leaves on it as it can. And you never see the tree stop. It live as long as it can live. Well, but we will say, but we have a freedom of choice. And our choice is, we're only going to do this much of this task, this much of this task, and this much of this task. And I would not live it to our full potential. So stop multitasking. That way you can actually maximize your full potential. Does that make sense? And the second thing, take more breaks. Take more breaks. It's okay to take more breaks. That gives you an opportunity to enjoy life and enjoy the process of what you're doing. Without breaks, your brain gets tired. We get distracted. So once you start giving up multitasking and you start taking more breaks, you can actually focus on the things that you want to focus on. So there's a couple of different techniques you can do, such as the Pomodoro Technique or the flow time technique. In case you don't know what the Pomodoro Technique is, that's basically you taking time out, working for a block of time, and then you take a block of break. So, like, for example, you work for 30 minutes straight, take a break for about 10 minutes, and then you go back and work 30 minutes straight again. That way you're focusing on the time that you're dealing with.
What's that called again?
The Pomodoro Technique.
Yeah, the Pomodoro Technique. Yeah, that's good. That's real good. So I read that in a book years ago, but you know what? I tried it a couple of times, but I never mastered it. But it did work. I got to be honest, it did work. I can see how it will work. I probably should try to pick that back up again. The Pomodoro. I need to write that down. I remember that one.
Yeah, I picked it back up too, because the last book that I read that talked about it was the book I was reading, the 5 a.m. Club, and it was talking about how how you systematize the time that you have. You start off by taking some time out for yourself. Taking some time out for yourself, your fitness, your victory hour, which is mastering yourself. Your fitness, your reading, your growing. And then you work in chunks. Mm-hmm. So they told you to do a 60-minute block with a 10-minute break. So something like that. So you can do those types of things in different types of times. One of the things that I also heard this morning too that really caught my that I thought was amazing was uh, be in the moment. Be in the moment. So wherever you are, be there. If you're at work, work. It's not playtime at work. So be. You heard of the saying serious business, right? So when you at work, work because it's serious business.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of your days at work. But when it's time to go play, go play. Don't be bringing your work to the don't be bringing your work to the beach. Because not only are you going to miss out on the moments and the opportunities that are presented to you from the beauty of being on vacation and playing, but you're going to make everybody mad that's part of what you're doing. So you have a wife, you have a spouse, you're going to have her upset because your mindset is on enjoying is on working when she's trying to have this vacation with you. You know, your kids are going to be upset because they want to play while you're working. You know, so be in the moment. Be in the moment. When you're at work, work. When you're playing, play. Don't take your work to the job. I mean, don't take your work to the beach, and don't take the beach to your job. It doesn't belong there.
You know, that's tough too, because I mean, that's good, but that's tough because I remember, like, as an entrepreneur, right? I remember like many days that like my mind don't shut off, right? Like
Hmm.
in a way, and not that I wanted to shut off, right? I don't want my mind to stop thinking, but the hard part was like when I'm at work and I'm building my company and I come home, like like as I think, I see business all day long. Everything I see is a business. My wife be like, can you turn your business mind off for a minute? And it'd be so hard. And I understand what you're saying too. Is like, yo, take it off, make work work, home be in the moment. And I found myself sometimes, unfortunately not being in the moment in front of the people that matter most. But you got to find that shift. You got to be able to figure out, how can I, when I'm at home with my family, be at home with my family, when I'm at work, be at work. Not saying that, as an entrepreneur, that you can't get inspiration from home for your business. But what I did try to start doing, and I need to do more of it, is I started a journal, right? And when I get a thought, I just write it down real quick, or I write it in my phone real fast, and then I try to come back to it later so I don't lose that thought. We get like 60,000 thoughts every day. So in our brain, or so like you got to understand, like, when those thoughts, you got to grab them, and you got to grab them, write it down, and remember it, because our brains aren't meant to, it's not meant for like to store everything, right? Like, you get an idea, you get a thought, you write it down, and then once you write it down, that's when it becomes real. But I understand, like, man, it's so hard sometimes to do that. So when people watching this, it's easy to say that, but you also got to be like, yo, I know it might be troubling. So I experienced that, and man, but you do got to figure out, how can I turn off and be intentional, be in the moment of who's ever in front of me. Like, I want to look in your eyes and I want to understand. Dan, I'm gonna tell you this. As a barber, right? I learned this trait. Cutting behind the chair and running a business. To your point, like being in the moment, and this really helped me build my business and build my relationships with my clients. There was a time where, like, how like the barbershop feel is, everybody come in and like it's like a sometimes like a family reunion, sometimes it's just like a gathering, everybody talking sports, everybody talking different things. But what I found out is that everybody's talking about everything's going on, except for paying attention to the persons in your chair that's actually paying you for your service. And what I found myself actually doing was like, yeah, I'm trying to entertain everybody else, but I'm not entertaining the one individual that needs my attention the most. But when I shifted that focus and said, look, let me focus on my customer, right? Because this is he or she is the one that needs my focus right now.
Hmm.
My whole relationship started to change between my clients. I started to get paid more. I started to get more out of them. I started to learn more about my customers and my clients, and our relationship got better, more in depth, and they sent me more people. My business blew up. But now I noticed that, and it's the same thing when I did it to there. You also got to be able to do that at home. You also got to do that in your business. You got to be able to carry that same character trait all throughout life, and then everything else gets better. You know what I'm saying? So I know we're always growing and we're always trying to get better. And you know, the vulnerability, like myself included, is I figured it out in business, but I also got to figure it out in life at home too, you know? So just going forward, I think that is the key. And I love the fact that you said be in that moment, because when you said it, it took me right to that moment when I was actually being in the moment, because it was building me, building my finances and building my business. But I also don't want to make all of the money and suffer at home and not being able to be in tune with my family or my core or whomever else. So those character traits, they transition in life and in business.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I was actually getting my hair retwisted this weekend, and me and Kim, my stylist, she was talking to me about um, one of the mentors that she had when she first got into the industry. And I think she was talking about a lady who worked at a salon here. She was telling her that she worked every day from 8 to 4. She was done with her clients by 4 o'clock. And with her being hungry, getting into the business and getting into the industry, she was like, "Aren't you going to miss out on those clients that want to come in after 4 o'clock?" She said, "No, I'm not gonna miss out on those clients. If they want to come in after 4, they come in. They need to figure out a way to make it happen. But what I'm going to miss out on is my family. If I'm staying after 4 o'clock, if I'm staying after 5 o'clock, I'm going to miss out on my family. I'm going to miss out on my husband. I'm going to miss out on my children. I'm going to miss out on the things that are really important to me. So I'm making a point that I'm done with everything by 4 o'clock, so I can get home and be in the moment with my family." And when she said that, that's what made me think that being in the moment is definitely something that we have to make sure that we make time for. Which actually leads me to my next point. Don't make major things minor. Don't make major things minor. And then on the same token, don't major in minor things. So you're probably thinking like, man, that's kind of deep. How does that work? So don't make major things minor. So what I mean by that, things that are major in your life, things that are big in your life, don't minimize it. Don't minimize the time, energy, and effort that you need to put into that so that you can actually get everything that you got coming out of it. So the time that you have with your children, missing out on your kid learning how to walk, that's a major thing. But because you were so busy trying to change something else, you missed out on something major. A sales opportunity in your business is a major thing, but because you was too busy trying to focus on something else, you minimize the time that you had to make that sale, to actually make the sale and not actually get the thing sold. So that leads me to the next part of that. Don't major in minor things. Major in minor things is keeping books on the prospects, keeping tabs on the prospects, or just trying to find ways to obtain new prospects. That's minor things. The major thing is with the time that you spend in front of that prospect. So the time that you spend in front of your prospect, the time you spend with that customer in your chair, those are major things. So why are you so worried about a potential client when you actually got a client in your chair? Now, why are you so worried about a potential client or a potential sale when you have a sale right in front of your face?
Wow.
So don't major in minor things, and don't make major things minor.
That's good. That's good. You know what? I was telling my little cousin the other day that targets create focus. And you might be asking, like, what does that mean? Right? So whatever you focus on, whatever you my bad. Whatever you focus on, right? Targets create focus. So when you create a target, it demands your focus. So if your target, the bigger your target, the harder it is to hit, right? Because there's so many distractions. So like you think of a bullseye, and if you want to hit a bullseye, you got to think about all of the other things outside of the center, which is the focus, right? It's the red dot that actually draws you to the center, right? And that center moment is what you're aiming for, right? And if you're aiming for that target, the more you focus on that part of the target, the higher your chances of hitting it, right? But if you got a big, large target, you don't really have anything to focus on because your eyes, they wander, right? So you want to put a frame around it. You want to actually put a target on what it is that you focus. What does that look like in business? That looks like, let's niche down who your audience is. Let's niche down what industry you're in. Let's niche down your thought process. Let's just get one thing done at a time. In fitness, it might be like this. Let's just win the day. Like, let's just get one exercise done, right? Just one rep, one set, one time. Get in the gym one day a week, right? Then start two. You know what I mean? So just putting the frame around that target, that creates your focus. And then the more you do that, you gain what I like to call momentum, right? And once you get momentum, you break the inertia, which is that stagnant, that neutral feeling, right? So that momentum is kind of cool to think about life. When you think about life, to me, Dan, is about it's about nature. Everything around us shows us an example how we can win in business and life, right? In my car, when I put my car in neutral, I go nowhere. Right? I absolutely go nowhere until I put it in gear, whether it's in reverse or it's in drive, right? So that's what your life is like. If you want to take, and is you either going forward or backwards, right? But you have to put one of those in gear. And if there's nothing in gear, then you're just neutral. You're not going anywhere. And that's why so many dreams die, because they're not in gear, right? They have no focus. There is no target. And with that being said, there is no momentum, right? And you're just coasting, and any little push, any little momentum in either direction, you're going to go either forward or backwards. You're going forward in your business or you're going backward in your business because you have no target. You have no focus. So what you got to do is you got to put a target around your focus. Therefore, if you do get a little push, if you do get a little momentum, you can move forward and not backwards. Sometimes you can go take a couple steps back to move forward, because sometimes you got to put your car in reverse just to get the driving on the right path. But that's okay, because that was intentional though, right? And when you're intentional, that's where your focus is going, which also creates your leap. And I love the fact that, if you're intentional about stuff, that's where your focus goes, and that's where your momentum flow. And you always hit targets, right? That has focus. You always hit. There's a lens, like you're able to see it clearer then, right? Because it's kind of cool. Like, you ever watch, Dan? You ever watch was it the groundhog? Not groundhog. Greyhound dogs race, the racing track, like the race, or even like horse races, right? What they do is they you wonder, like, how do they stay in their lanes? How do they run so fast, right? So what they do is they put these blinders on them, right? They put these blinders on the animal, so they can't look who's in the next lane. They can't look sideways, and they're chasing like a bunny. They got a little bunny on the side of the the rail on the side of the track, and it's just going really fast, and they're chasing that. So the only thing they're focused on is what they can see, and that's what you got to do with your goals. You know what I'm saying? If you want to create if you want to hit your goals, you want to hit your targets, then you got to find out where your target is at, and you got to hone out all of the distractions and put your blinders on and focus only on the thing that you desire, right? And when you focus only on the thing that you desire, then you can have everything you want, because you're only focused on it, because your target is what creates your focus. And then you got momentum because you're chasing after something. And I love it, because if you're Diddy said this a long time ago, Dan. I was just trying to align myself with the elites. He said, if you chasing your dreams and you ain't caught up to them yet, you ain't running fast enough, right? So what you got to do is you got to run faster with focus. That is the only way. It is the only way, right, to get what you want. And that is the system that we all have to adapt to, right? That is one of the systems. You have to let your targets become your focus.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. That a few weeks ago we had a conversation, and I was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we probably talked about it a little bit last week as well. But we was talking about how there's a difference between a gang member and a soldier. The difference between a gang member and a soldier. A gang member, when they go on a killing spree, when they go out and shoot or ride out or whatever you want to call it, they got a person in mind that they want to hit. But the way that they go about hitting that person is, is wild. They don't have any focus because they're going out there and they're just spraying up the block. So they don't have no focus as to who they hit, or they doing it, or they trying to hit a moving target. You're trying to hit a moving target, you can't really lock in on it. But one thing worse than trying to hit a moving target is you trying to hit the target while you're on the move. So now you're multitasking because you're trying to hit the target and you're on the move. You're moving, you're in the car, you're driving, and you're trying to shoot at the same time at your target. That's worse than actually trying to hit the target that's moving, because at least you can actually line your stuff up and you can anticipate where that person is going to go and shoot, and with perfect time and precision, you can actually shoot when you're stationary. But if you're moving, it's hard for you to hit a moving target. But a soldier, they're trained for combat. They're trained to hit their target. They're trained to be stationary, to be still, to have a perfect breathing, to squeeze the trigger at a time where they're motionless and they're steady and they're still. So they're not multitasking in the process. They're aiming, they're locking and loading. And once they get to that point where there's motionlessness in their breath, they squeeze they pull the trigger for their target. I know this from experience because I'm a soldier. I'm a veteran. And
you a what? You a what?
I'm a veteran.
What you?
I'm a soldier, man.
Oh man, you're a sniper, ain't you? You a sniper though, ain't you? Something
Man,
like a sniper, ain't
sharpshooter.
See, they don't even know you're a trained sharpshooter, bro. You
trained for combat, man. People don't realize that. People don't know that. But yeah, when I was 18, I was in the army, man. And as and the first thing they taught us was how they didn't teach us they didn't teach us how to shoot first. They taught us how to take care of our weapon first. They taught us how to absolutely. They taught us how to break down. I'm about to get into that. They taught us how to break down our weapon. They taught us how to break down our and put together our weapon. And they taught us how to clean our weapon. And the reason why they did that before they taught us how to shoot, because the shooting part was easy. Aiming for your target, that was going to come easy. But knowing how to deal with situations when you're in a jam, overcome objection,
wow,
that's not so easy.
Wow.
But when you're multitasking and when you don't use your time properly, it's easy for you to say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. Because now you're at time crunch. You already started a deficit because you just dropped 6 to 8 hours of sleep. You just dropped 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 hours in your job. So you're already going against the grain of time. So now you start factoring the things you got to do to prepare, the drive time, the home time, the cooking time, the meal time, putting your children to bed time. Now all of a sudden the last 8 hours that you have available to yourself has diddled down to 30 minutes. And what you want to do, you don't want to do the rest of the work that it's going to take for you to get going. So it is very important to know how to systematically use the time that you have.
That's good, man. That's good stuff, bro. Like I like that a lot, man, because I think that creates a lot of opportunity for people to think about, right? Like even myself, I've never been in the service, so I don't know, but I understand what you said, and I can apply that because like you mentioned, like I like how you applied it to sales. You was like, like in sales, because selling to me is something that we all have to learn how to do, right? Either you're either selling something to somebody or someone's selling something to you, but there's always a transaction, right? There's always a transfer transference of energy, right? And the cool thing about that is, like you're saying, just shooting at your target is easy, but what's not easy is overcoming, the objection of what can happen in the process when you're in the line of fire, not getting, buckling under pressure, knowing how to use your tools, right? And not letting your tools use you. I think that's wise because just in business period, like some of us we can get to the goal. It's just like a person that wins $1 million in the lottery, right? They won, they're instant millionaires, but they don't know how to go create millions. And that's something that's insanely important, right? You can make money, but if you don't know what you did to make money, and if you lose it, you can't get it again, right? That's why I love when Jim Rohn said it's not about making a million, it's the person that you become when you make a million. It's the becoming that makes the change. That's the transformation that needs to happen.
Right.
So like as a sharpshooter, the transformation is, hey, if I'm in a gym, I know how to handle myself. And I think that is the way we gotta go at life with a different perspective, with a new set of tools. And we gotta change our perspective of what success really looks like. And we have to learn that we have to be successful before we're successful. Because
Absolutely.
it's kind of like NBA 2K, right? It's kind of like 2K. It's like when you're doing like my player, right, on NBA 2K, you're simulating the game. Sometimes you don't want to play all of the games, right? And you assimilate. So your team, which that means is sometimes if you don't want to play all 52 games to play out a whole season in the NBA 2K, you can simulate, right? And the computer will generate based on your habits of playing, you'll win X amount of games or you'll lose X amount of games, right? So, and it's called a simulation. So sometimes what we got to do is we got to simulate our life. We got to simulate our success. Based on your habits, how successful will you be after the next 90 days? Based on your habits, how successful will you be in the next year? Based on your habits currently, how will you win this game or lose this game? And you can simulate yourself, because the cool thing then is that the mind doesn't know a difference between reality versus what you're thinking, right? That's the subconscious. It doesn't tell a difference. So you have the opportunity to use that tool for your benefit, and you can simulate to the next 90 days. You can simulate to the next year, and you can see, hey, based on my habits and based on my goals right now, will I be where I want to be? And if the answer is no, then I need to change some things up, right? I need to put in some new tools. I need to do some new things. I need new mentors, new coaches, new ideas, new books, new habits, whatever it is for you. But then I need to prepare myself now. In other words, I need to be successful now so I can be successful later. And I got all of that from what you're saying about the guns being jammed or knowing how to fix that in that midst of danger, right? Because you know in the midst of that, right, you can be on the path, you can have all of the tools to be successful, but if you're not setting yourself up with the right habits and the right opportunities and the right and you don't have the right mindset and you don't know how to use the tools correctly, you'll still end up failing, right? That doesn't mean that the game is over. That means you got to get up and do it again, but this time you got to do it again in a different way.
Right.
So if there's somebody on this live, you're watching live or you're watching a replay, if you got goals, you know what I mean? Like, and you want new goals, if you want to hit those goals, on your chest and say goals, like I got goals. Say I got goals, whether you're live or not. I want you to just tap on yourself, say I got goals, but making sure that those goals are in alignment to who it is that you want to become, because you have to be successful before you become successful. So in order to make that happen, you got to know what it is that you want now. So tap in the chats. I know what I want. If you know what you want, you got to tap it right now, because that's going to make sure that you become that person before that actual person stands up in front of you and you meet him or her in the next 90 days, or you meet him or her in the next 12 months, or you meet him or her in the next 5 years. You have to be that person today before you can ever be that person tomorrow.
Right.
So,
and with that being said, man, just understand what we're saying here. When should you start on doing things differently in your life? As soon as it's finished. As soon as it's finished. As soon as you finish thinking it, conceiving it in your mind, go out and achieve it. Go out and achieve it. You know, And knowing these things, knowing that you have that opportunity and that ability, you know. So like Arthur said, type in the chat, I know what I want. So you know what you want, you know. But knowing these things, it is our time, and we're going to go ahead and close out with the way we tell y'all, what we tell y'all every single week, to work on your egos. Work on your egos. Stop edging God out. Start executing God's orders. And when you're doing that, as you keep in process that this time is given to the same person on every single planet, on every single person breathing, living or dead. This time was given to us all, 24 hours. We can do a whole lot with that 24 hours if we work on ourselves. So work on your ego. Stop edging God out. Start executing God's orders so you go far.
Indeed. So man, that's cool, man. I love this today, man. Like, so we're gonna it's our time, right? So we over time. So in the meantime, in between time, look, if you enjoy this, I'll meet you next week. Peace and love, and I see you at the top.
See you at the top.